of this sort of gathering is basically just a meet and greet, so that you know who's who in this building and so on. So a little bit of introductions, right? Because yesterday, even as of yesterday, somebody came and asked, who's that guy? Right. So that happens to be me, and I'm your dean. I am a human geneticist. I come from the Faculty of Science, Institute of Biological Sciences, and I do human molecular genetics. I'm involved with a lot of university level administration, so they put me here as dean. I'll tell you a little bit about this place, right? So I think what's important here, what I normally do in my classes is to actually give you my number. Ada whiteboard. Alright. Alright, my name is Zul. For those of you who find it difficult to pronounce, Zulkarnain. Zul is fine. And this is my number, that's my email. If there's anything at all, right? Normally, if you have any issues, sometimes, I can tell you 90% of the issues are just communication barriers, and normally also if you involve the dean, it gets in much faster. Alright, so I'm here to help you all in your journey in your studies. Alright. So why are you here in IAS? This place is called Institute of Advanced Studies, right? IAS. It is relatively new. It is only established in 2018. Sorry, thank you. It's only established in 2018. Previously, it was the IGS, Institute of Graduate Studies. If you look at your Google, for grad purposes and so on, it's IGS. What does IGS? IGS cater for the postgraduates of the whole university. But it was decided in 2018 that postgraduate matters from faculties are being siphoned back to the faculty. So they settle their own postgraduate issues. So those who are left here are situations or students that come or that involve more than one faculty. Right? Multidisciplinary. You don't actually belong to a particular faculty because the nature of your study, right? So you have different faculties, so that's why you're here. We have students that cuts across language, science, and law, for example. So we have all these different mixtures, and they're here. The other groups of students that are registered under Institute of Advanced Studies are basically students who work in research centers, right? So in there's about 40 research centers, but the ones that are recognized, we have 4 that have been recognized by the government, by the ministry. We have the photonics, UMPDEC, power energy. What else? You have NanoCat. We have, help me out. SEBA is recognized under SEBA, and TIDRAC is recognized under university. But at the ministry levels, you have that 4 photonics, UMPDEC, NanoCat, and IOAS. Alright, so altogether there are 6 6 centers in which their students are catered for by IAS. Alright? So that was established in October 2018. So IAS was built for the main purpose of encouraging multidisciplinarity. It is not a problem for research. Because research nowadays is difficult for you to actually do research. It's just based on your own field. You know, you have to venture out into different fields, and then this is where it gets. You have to where you are able to answer questions from different perspectives. But the other task that I am supposed to come up with is to come up with thought courses. So we have quite a few thought courses in line, but the soonest that it will be available probably sometime in 2022, because it takes that long to actually develop courses, and that will be thought courses, master's program, 1-year master's program. For example, we have one on, if I'm not mistaken, bioethics and biosecurity. We have one that's probably coming up, vaccinology and therapeutics. I can't remember offhand, but we have quite a few. But they're not ready as yet. They will have to wait until 2022. So that is the purpose of this place. So, word-wise, develop, offer, manage multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary programs. Develop research training programs, establish international collaborations, and develop academic programs for UMCOE as well. So that is a bigger task. Perhaps we're looking at maybe the development program of about 5 to 8 years before we actually have these programs. Okay. So if the people are here, I'll introduce them. So we're a small team, right? That's me up there. My assistant is Puan Siti Haja. If you go, Puan Siti Haja, can you just wave? Okay, right? So if you go to the second floor, Dean's office, if you enter the Dean's office, on the right there'll be her place, right? So that's Puan Siti. And then I have Deputy Director, Associate Professor Dr. Rafida. She is from ScienceCom, if I'm not mistaken, Artificial Intelligence Department, ScienceCom. She is now in the next building. I think she has a talk that she has to attend to. And her assistant is Wan Noor. No, she's not here? Right, okay. All of them are actually in the Dean's office. That means if you go out the lift, to the left, right? And the rest of the team is actually in the main office, just outside the lift. And it is led by Dr. Munira. So there she is, right? She is the ranking. You have grade 44, right? Grade 44. And then to help her out, we have Puan Hazwin. I think you interact most with Puan Hazwin because she is in charge of postgraduate studies. Dr. Munira is more on the finance as well as the administration of the whole building. And then under Dr. Munira, we have Haji Asri. Alright, so he's more of a assistant engineer. So he takes care of, well, because there are just so few of us, we normally, our tasks sometimes overlap with each other. But officially, he's the assistant engineer. We have Encik Alif, who is the computer expert. We have Cik Maizatul Izzati. This is our newcomer, right? She just joined us, I think, 1 month, 2 months, 1 month, right? Just joined us, so don't bully her. And then we have our operational assistant, which is Encik Ruhim. So, right, so these are the faces that you might always see in the office. And then we have Encik Rosli, right? Encik Rosli and Puan Siti Farah. Okay, so both of these they work under Puan Hazwin, and these are the people that you normally see when you want to talk about your thesis, submission, your candidature defense, anything to do with your candidacy, right? But at the end of the day, we're a small family, so if you talk to any one of us, the message should get through, right? But again, for those of you who just walked in, my number, my email should always be available to you, okay? Now, at the moment we have 4 courses running. So we have this first 2 is a thought course that is already running in UMPDAC, University Malaya Power Energy DAC. What is DAC? DAC? Dedicated? Sorry? Advanced Center. Right. Power Energy Dedicated Advanced Center. So they have two courses running, Master of Renewable Energy and then Master of Power Systems. Essentially, they were established initially from the engineering faculty, and then they got out and then they started their own research center. I think one of the top research centers in Malaysia. They receive funding directly from the ministry, although I'm not sure whether they still have that in the current phase of the economic issues. And then, of course, we have your most of you will be within this group, the Master of Philosophy or Doctor PhDs and MPhils. Okay. So we have that 4 programs. I just came back from a meeting. There's more program coming up, hopefully within the next couple of years. Student-wise, we have a total of 309 students. Okay, so you are representatives of the 309. We have doctorate and philosophy about 270 odd students who's doing a doctor by research. And then we have about 37 here who does coursework. Okay? And then every year we have a target. Alright, every year we have a target by the university. They say, okay, IAS, we expect you to graduate. Now, this was last year, they expected to graduate 31. Last year, 31. So we managed to graduate. That 131 is PhDs only, right? Right. So we managed to graduate 22. How to determine this number? They look at your progress. Whoever is in the 5th semester and above. So previously it was 75%. So whoever in the 5th semester and above, we expect you to graduate either this year or for next year, for this year. Right? So what we are going to do, I think this year there is 37 of you have been identified to graduate. Well, of course, we don't know what's your progress. Now, this is on the management side. They say, oh, you're on the 5th semester, then you should just need one more semester to graduate. So what we are going to do, we're going to go through that list. And then we're going to write to you, right? To write to you and your supervisor to tell you that, congratulations, you are in the list of graduation. We need to know the progress. Are you in line to graduate or not? And how long do you need? How can we assist? Because sometimes, why it takes so long, it's just because of mechanistic issues. Sometimes the appointment of examiners didn't go through. Sometimes the application came in quite late, so that we need time to, because meetings only occur once a month sometimes, right? The higher education, the postgraduate meeting is 1 month, Senate is once a month and so on. If you miss this 1 month, you'll have to wait another month. You know? So sometimes if we can help you out with that, then you should be able to speed up your thesis processing. And also, previously when we sent out thesis for examination, previously, well, when I was a student, they just send and then they just keep quiet and then just wait for the examiners to reply. And then it was given 2 months. Now, I think we're only giving them 45 days. You know, 45 days, although if we write to them and say, have you finished? If they say no, well, by right, we should appoint a new one. But normally what we do is, we'll ask them whether they can commit to sending in within 1 or 2 weeks. Because if you want to appoint a new one, that will be a different process of meetings and approvals, and sometimes it takes longer. So we try as much as we can to help you out and to expedite things. So that's why once we have the list, we have identified the list, we will write to you, and then please be honest on how we can help you out. If there's any issue on the processes, we'll try to help you out. Okay? So target, there's about 37 of you this year, and so far how many have graduated? 6, 8? We have already had 8. Okay, can I get a general idea of who, I don't know whether it's a sensitive question, how many of you are actually more than 6 semesters here? Are you all new students? Are you more than 6 semesters? What semester are you in? Can I know? That's alright, you can just... 8, right. Any more? That's more than 6? Right, so in such a case, for example, there was a meeting recently. We want to really identify who is really at the beyond 8 and beyond. We want to identify and really sit down and we want to know on who's, if there is any problem. We want to know whether we can help, because sometimes in doing this, there are various issues. Some unforeseeable issues, funding, sometimes samples, sometimes personal communication, sometimes issues with the supervisor, sometimes there are various issues. And they're not isolated. You may feel as if this is unique to you, but sometimes it's just your health issues. So these are the things that we want to try to understand and to see whether we can help out. And in order to do that, you have to reach out. So hopefully we can do that. If the rest of you are online or on time, so it shouldn't be a problem. So we want to be able to graduate students with the GOT, the graduate on time on the 6 semesters or 7, as fast as possible. But we don't want, we want to try and avoid, because the current rulings, currently, for sciences, you have to have 2 papers. That if you finish your maximum and you finish your extensions, if you still cannot get a paper, then well, you will be regarded as a fail. So we want to avoid that. So the only way to avoid that is to try and see whether this issue can be addressed sooner or not. Right? Please don't be depressed, but because a lot of these things are actually quite easily resolvable. I can tell you that. A lot of issues can actually, changes of faculty changes, supervisors changes. This is quite normal sometimes. Just sometimes, it just doesn't work. With one person, it will work with another. These are just slides on tell you what we have in the building. You see, if you must know, this building, this area is called the D block. And then you have A, B, C. Well, I think it's in that order, either A, B, C or A, B, C. Do you know?
A, B, C.
A, B, C, right? So, IAS is only the D. Right? This is our building. And the rest, A, B, C, is under the purview of the next door. the IPPP, Research Management Unit. So that's where the labs are. But if some of you who came in, and I had a chat with one of the professors there, so he was telling me about an issue in one of the labs, about some safety issue in one of the labs that stores chemicals. So it's alright, if you have problems, you can tell me, and I will bring it. Although that's not part of my responsibility, I can help bring that issue to where it's supposed to be. Right? I can help raise the issue. So we have an auditorium. This is where we are. This is here, right? Aji? Oh, this one on that side. This is on that side, seminar room. This is at the bottom floor. We have seminar rooms. We have cubes. This is one cube. We have another cube on the other side. Ada lagi the cermin tak ada dah? Huh? Actually the side room we have mirrors. It's actually it was used by the creative center for dancers. Yeah? So if you want to see yourself dance, you can go to that room. We have that. So there are meeting rooms, there's a conference room. They are normally used for meetings, but we also have had organized conferences, small round table discussions. We do have all that facilities. All you need to do is to let us know. We have a computing facility. There's a computer room up here. There are 2 rooms up here and 1 room in second floor. Unfortunately, the 2 rooms up here are not ours. They are under the central facility, under the Information Technology Center. And the ones that we have are quite old. So we are in the process, we put in for application to change the computers and the carpeting. That one's downstairs. However, should you need, if you're doing bioinformatics or some data analytics, or workshop that you plan to have a workshop, things like that, you can put the application through us, and we can help you out to see whether those 2 rooms are available or not. But we do have that. You have a peek through, you can see there are 2 rooms with a lot of computers. They are quite new, right? They're quite new. What year do you know? 2016. So those are new. So that's what but they belong to the central. But we can help you out if you want to use it. The one that's ours, you can use for general, simple word processing and so on, because they are old computers. I think that one is 2010. Alif, yang bawah tu berapa? Yang bawah tu. 2010. Older? Somewhere around there. So we have put in a request to change. I think there's about 25 computers there. If that goes through, then again, we can work things out if you need to use computers. As I mentioned, what you need to understand is that these centers are not directly under IAS. These centers are standalone centers. They report directly to the Deputy Vice Chancellor. Only the academic programs are part of IAS. So you are basically the students. Your degree program is part under IAS. But the center itself is actually run on its own, and they report to the Deputy Vice Chancellor. Right? So it's a bit because to get a degree, it must be awarded by a faculty or an academic institution, and that institution must have a statute to say that the research centers do not have a statute. IAS has a statute, so that's why we can award degrees. So that's why whatever research programs from the centers are actually registered under the IAS. But the functioning of the centers on its own is they report straight away to the VC, and then they have their own research facilities. However, there is an active collaboration, right, between ourselves and the research centers in terms of research expertise as well as research facilities. Okay. Lastly, right, before I end, I would like to highlight how many of you is in the 5th semester? The 5th and? 4th and above. How many of you actually qualify for this? No? All of you are new? Come on. I've seen quite a lot of you old faces here. Anyway, this is an annual competition. Have you heard of this competition? I would like to encourage as many as possible to participate. Do not view this as a research exercise. It is not a research exercise where you talk about your research, introduction, literature review, make materials and methods, discussion. No, it's not that. It's more of ability to communicate. The description would be, if you're waiting for a bus, right? You're waiting for a Grab or whatever, and then there's somebody else next to you, and then your car will come in 3 minutes, and then that person asks you, so what are you doing here? So tell me about your PhD. So that is the context. In 3 minutes, you tell these people what your research is about. So it's not, you have to get away from the scientific conference format. You want to tell people that, even say for example, one of the things I do previously is I need to identify flies by looking at their DNA sequence. Why? Because I need to identify their larva. Why? Because this larva infests corpses. You know corpse? Dead people? If I can identify the larva, I can identify the time of death. Because I know the flies come in at a certain time, and then they will lay their eggs, and the egg takes how many hours to develop and so on. So if I can know what fly is there, I know how long this person has been dead. And that kind of thing. In 3 minutes. So that is what this is all about. 3-minute thesis is not trying to convince about this. It's a competition on communicating effectively on your thesis. I went to one of the first times this was on. My student participated locally, and then she won, and then we got to go to Perth for the international round. You only have one slide. You only allow one slide. But what I remember until today was one presentation by one of the students there who just had an empty slide, nothing. And she came out and said, can you see a tree? Can you see a car? Actually, they are all there, but it's all in white. And her research was actually on the rights of the Aborigines. Yeah. So she was saying that the culture have always seen only their skin and not bother about the minority. So that was the research, and she actually won the popular vote. So that's the kind of thing that has an impact. So because it says why you can't see all this, because you are used to seeing just white and you don't see the intricacies, but actually they are all there, the minorities. So this kind of thing. So that was unfortunately, she didn't win the competition. She won the popular vote. Right? So this kind of thing, I would be more than happy to guide you, because we'll have faculty level. Your application should come in by, what's the date today? 10th, 11th, by tomorrow. And then we'll try to see whether we can have a briefing on what it's all about. And then the competition in you're welcome to watch, right? Well, first of all, you're welcome to participate. If you qualify more than 4 semesters, you're welcome to give support. There's a prize, I think. What's the prize? 300. Eh? Oh, okay, there you go. The first prize is 300, second place and third place 150 and 100. I couldn't give much more, but we don't have that much money, but yeah. And then if you win in this round, you enter the university level, which is organized by engineering. There are 3 main categories. Azwin? Science. Oh, there you go again. Science and medical, engineering and technology, and non-science. Right, so it doesn't really matter. Okay? So again, how many of you will be participating? Everybody psychically has put up their hands. I can see that. Alright? So anyway, so that's it. So that's all from me.